The story starts, and we see a seemingly ordinary girl whose life was anything but normal. Despite her young age, strange things constantly happened around her. Events so bizarre that even science failed to explain them. One day she confessed her love to the boy she liked, but when he rejected her, she gave him a piercing glare as if she were cursing him. That very evening after school, an out-of-control car crashed into him, killing him instantly in a gruesome accident. After that, strange occurrences escalated. Within days, 5 more students mysteriously died. One jumped off a roof, another drowned in a river. Anyone who looked into the girl's eyes felt an eerie sense of panic. Rumors began to spread that she was no ordinary human, but the child of the devil himself. Overwhelmed by fear and disgrace, her mother decided to kill her. One night, she took her daughter into the car, planning to die along with her. But as soon as she sped up, a horrific accident occurred. The car flipped multiple times, leaving the mother's body completely mangled. Strangely, the girl didn't even have a single scratch. Years later, Si Young had become a famous dancer. She had no recollection of her past, as if it had all been a bad dream. But her hidden secret was about to resurface once again. One day, she got the opportunity to shoot with a renowned director. The shoot was set in an abandoned school that no one had visited for years. The location was desolate, with an eerie silence all around. During the shoot, Si Young suddenly heard strange bell chimes in the air. The strangest part was that only she could hear them. Ignoring her fear, she continued shooting. But as soon as she reached the upper floor, she felt as if someone was behind her. When she turned around, there was no one, but bizarre symbols were etched on the walls. The shoot was ongoing in the deserted building. During a dance scene, Si Young sensed something unusual in her movements. Suddenly, she felt as if an unknown force was pulling her toward the ceiling. As she reached the edge, she spread her arms and jumped down. But in the next moment, everything changed. Si Young snapped back to reality, realizing it was all an illusion. Just as she let out a sigh of relief, the rest of the crew gasped in shock. They saw 4 strange figures standing on the roof of a nearby building. They were drawing peculiar symbols on the ground, as if performing some kind of mysterious ritual. During the shoot, another crew member who had gone to adjust the lights mysteriously disappeared. The director immediately sent a Javiwook to look for him. But as soon as he arrived at the spot, a loud noise echoed, and he saw that the missing woman was trembling against the wall, as if she had been terrified beyond belief. The next moment, she lifted her head, revealing menacing eyes. Before anyone could comprehend what was happening, she suddenly lunged at the man in front of her. In a frenzy, she attacked him multiple times, leaving him bloodied and collapsing to the ground. After that, the girl, covered in blood, slowly opened the door and stepped outside. The people standing there were horrified at the sight. Panicked, they asked her what had happened, but she didn't say a word and instead started moving towards the rooftop. When she reached the edge of the roof, she turned around and looked up, her eyes filled with deep hatred. The very next moment, without any fear, she jumped off the roof. As soon as she hit the ground, her body was shattered into pieces. People hadn't even recovered from the shock when they saw the girl, who had just fallen, suddenly start moving. Slowly, she began gathering her broken bones and attempted to stand up. She was no longer human. She had transformed into a zombie. She grabbed the neck of a man standing nearby and tore into his flesh with her sharp teeth. Blood splattered everywhere. The remaining people trembled in fear. There was no mobile network in that place, and no help could be called. Everyone tried to escape, but the director strangely picked up his bags and quietly slipped away. When the people questioned him, he gave no answer. That's when everyone realized something was wrong. They decided to follow the director to uncover the truth. But just as they were about to leave the building, they glanced at the rooftop and saw a CCTV camera still recording. This place had been abandoned for years, so how was the camera still working? The moment they noticed it, a loud explosion came from above. Panicked, they rushed towards the lower floors of the building. But before they could reach a safe place, something happened that no one had expected. The set of the film shoot turned into chaos. The man who had been brutally killed just moments ago had now reappeared, this time in a terrifying form. Out of fear, everyone shut the door and hid inside. But the loud noises coming from outside proved that those who were once with them were now under the control of an unknown force. If they didn't escape soon, they too might become one of them. Panicked, everyone rushed toward the ground floor, but when they reached the door, they saw that the path was completely blocked. The only way out was through a small skylight above. One of the members gathered his courage and climbed onto a metal box with all his strength. After that, the rest of them also started climbing up slowly. Just before the director could attempt to escape, loud bangs erupted on the door. Within moments, a zombie broke in and grabbed him. It tore him apart with its strength, and his screams echoed throughout the set. Terrified, the remaining people fled without looking back. After a lot of struggle, they moved toward the exit, only to find it blocked by an iron gate. As soon as one man tried to climb over it, a zombie suddenly grabbed him and ripped the skin off his body. The others trembled in fear. Staying there any longer was like inviting death, so they decided to find another way. While running, Yoon slipped and fell to the ground. She cried out for help, but Sa-young and Jin, too scared, didn't even glance in her direction. They ran toward the car, and as soon as they got in, Jin immediately started the engine. But the troubles weren't over yet. As they drove a short distance, a masked man suddenly appeared in the middle of the road and shot Che in the head. His skull exploded, and blood splattered all over the car. Seo slowly stepped out of the car and hid in a deserted corner nearby. But just then, she accidentally disturbed a piece of glass lying on the ground, creating a faint sound. That sound caught the attention of a zombie, and it started moving toward her. Seo held her breath and quickly hid in a nearby room. But suddenly, a strange tune began playing over the school speakers. As soon as the zombies heard the sound, they went berserk and rushed in that direction. Seo had no idea what was happening, but then she heard footsteps behind her. She turned around and saw that the director was alive. However, there was no fear on his face. It seemed as if he already knew everything. Seo tried to uncover the truth, and that's when the director revealed that everything was part of a plan. The dance sequence that Seo had filmed was not an ordinary dance. It was an ancient ritual meant to summon spirits. But the real danger was still ahead. A few days before filming began, an old woman had approached the director. She handed him some documents and proposed making a film based on a special kind of dance. It wasn't just any dance, it was an ancient ritual meant to summon the dead. The director found the idea strange and ominous, so he initially decided to refuse. But when the woman offered him 10 times the usual payment, greed took over and he accepted the offer. Little did he know that his greed would drag him and the entire team into a horrifying nightmare from which escape was impossible. The dance performed during filming was actually a way to awaken the dead. This ritual had brought the spirits back to life, and now they had taken over human bodies. Slowly, the people present on the set began to transform into grotesque forms, as if they had turned into living corpses. The director had now realized his mistake, but it was too late to regret it. He decided that, at the very least, he would ensure Sa-young's safety to ease his conscience. Just as the director and Sa-young were about to open the door to escape, the sudden sound of a gunshot echoed. The director was shot in the head, collapsing to the ground as blood spread all around. When Sa-young looked toward the door, she saw police officers and some unknown individuals standing outside. The people standing there looked like members of a criminal gang. It was then that So-young realized that the entire place was under the control of criminals, and that she had become entangled in a massive conspiracy. Amidst the chaos, the police discovered a hidden mark inside a car. Taking advantage of the distraction, Sa-young found an opportunity and fled. As she ran, she encountered Yoon, who had somehow survived a zombie attack. Together, they made their way to a nearby gas station, where they felt safe. Si-young was exhausted, and Yoon handed her a bottle of water. The moment she drank it, her eyes grew heavy, and within moments, she lost consciousness. When Si-young regained consciousness, she found herself in a strange room with red lights glowing. Her hands and feet were tied. In front of her stood several people dressed in black, holding guns. They stared at her in silence, as if waiting for a decision to be made. Terrified, Si-young began trembling and begged them to let her go. Suddenly, one of them shot her in the chest, but within seconds, her wound began healing on its own. At that moment, childhood memories started flooding her mind. She remembered that she was no ordinary girl, but a cursed soul. As a child, she had unknowingly predicted a boy's death, which later came true. Gradually, strange incidents began happening around her. Several children at her school died, and her mother was killed in a car accident. Now the woman dressed in black, standing before her, was the very one whose son had died because of her. Everything, the entire shooting, the zombie attacks, and everything else that was happening, had been planned by this woman to avenge her son's death. Even Yun, who had given her water, was part of this plan. He was one of those who had lost their loved ones. Xian had only two choices: either get trapped in this game and die, or use her true powers to take revenge. After learning the truth, Sion was completely terrified. Trembling, she begged for mercy. But could a mother who had lost her child be swayed by pity so easily? She was about to complete the final step of her revenge. She ordered her men to bring a large speaker that contained an ancient recorded chant. As soon as the eerie chant echoed through the room, all the ghostly spirits and zombie-like souls outside began rushing in. It was destined to be a battle between a grieving mother and a demon. Amidst the screams, Sion's soul was consumed by the vengeful spirits. Chairwoman Yun, who had waited years for this moment, was finally satisfied. However, to conclude this horrifying ritual, she sacrificed herself by jumping off the roof. Now only one person remained, 6 Yun. She was the only survivor of this entire incident. Not only had she avenged her family's death, but she was now the last one standing. Rather, she had completely escaped from these spirits as well. Her victory was complete, and she burst into joy. But just then, she felt someone staring at her. When she looked into the nearby mirror, her eyes widened in shock. In the mirror, she could see Si Young's reflection. But this time, Si Young was not trembling in fear. Instead, a strange, eerie smile played on her lips. And with this, the story ends here. Subscribe to this channel for more horror stories like this.